All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Serious Angler podcast, episode number 244. As always, I am your host, Bailey Eyewear, and joined with me back on the live stream, my co-host and the captain, Mr. Andy Full. What's going on, dude?
Oh, just living the dream. Stayed up way too late watching the Bills beat up on the Chiefs, which nobody saw coming except for the faithful Bills Mafia, I'm pretty sure. And, then had a guide trip today and smashed some giant smallies, and now we're here.
There you go.
What's up?
Would you be proud of me that I stayed up for the entirety of that game last night?
I can't believe it.
Yep. More half forced, but also half I didn't have anything else to do. So might as well stay and watch the Bills play because why not? But it was a good game, dude.
Can you talk about how I made you look like a genius?
You did. So do you want to tell the story or me?
So I text Bailey, and shortly after I found out he was on delay, but I was like, Alan, with like 8 explanation points. And I'm pretty sure he said something to his lady like Alan's going to score or throw a touchdown. And she was like, what?
Yeah, so when he threw that pass to Knox, like I think it was like right before half, right?
Yeah.
I was like, they're about to snap it, and I get the text from Andy. I was on a delay, and I get Alan and all capitals. And basically, I was like, I bet you $5 touchdown pass for Alan. And she's like, doesn't think about it, doesn't register, and he throws a touchdown pass, and she's like, what? And I text you, I'm like, I think you just made my fiance think I was a genius.
That's so great.
It was good.
You're welcome.
I ended up telling her because she's like having me try to call plays. I'm like, yeah, Andrew told me we're on a delay. But fun weekend this past weekend, dude. It was kind of a roller coaster for me. And my fiance and I were supposed to go to a wedding on Friday, but unfortunately, unfortunately, it was good to see him, but hung out with a buddy from college Thursday night, and my fiance and I are about to leave for the wedding on Friday. Like 2 hours before we leave, I get a call from him. He goes, hey, I just tested positive for COVID. I was like, oh, great. Awesome. So we, unfortunately, out of respect for our friend or family, didn't end up going to the wedding, which sucked. But on the bright side of things, I did get it to squeeze. I quarantined and went fishing for 2 days. So fishing was a pack full of big largemouth on Saturday, and then got out in the big water on Sunday, got into a nice bag of smallmouth. And so it sucked because I couldn't go see my friend get married, but there were some plus to the weekend. And I filmed both days, so they're coming to you guys.
Awesome. Yeah, that pond is fun, isn't it?
It is a lot of fun.
Lake or whatever they call it.
We'll keep it at that. So, no, either way, it was a good weekend. It sounded like you had a good and bad weekend, but the Bills won, so it's always a good weekend for Bills Mafia.
Yeah, I went fishing, ate a lot of clams, funeral, wedding, Bills game, guide trip. Guide trip Friday. So I was busy as could be. And now I work the next 2 days. I think I'm fishing with Destin on Thursday.
Nice.
Might get out and film a little bit Friday morning. And then our tournament Saturday, guide trips Sunday, Monday.
Yeah, it's going to look like a rainy one on Saturday.
Yeah, that's fine. Let it rain.
Yeah.
I don't care. It doesn't bother me.
I ain't afraid.
I ain't scared. Scared of ghosts.
We got a really cool episode today, guys. We're bringing back our buddy, Mr. Jacob Foutz, who just qualified for the Bassmaster Elite Series. We're super jacked up for him and pumped up to get him on the show to dive into the 3 tournaments that he qualified for through the Bassmaster Opens, and obviously to catch up and see what's going on and kind of seeing a look into the mind of a guy who just finally got his dream. Right now he used to go fish the elites. What's going to go through his brain? What are the next steps? We're going to dive into that, but really fast before we bring Jacob on, because he's probably getting impatient waiting out there in the queue. We have our second to last giveaway for the Hobie Eyewear shades next Monday that we're going to be running. But in November, if you guys are looking for some stocking stuffers for Christmas coming up, for holidays, birthdays, whatever, or if you're just genuinely looking for quality shades at a discounted price, we are Hobie Eyewear. We had a discussion with them recently. In November, we'll get you guys the dates. We will be having I think it's a 35% off sale. So you guys can go and get $100 shades for $65, which that's getting the bang for your buck there. So we'll be obviously keeping you guys up to date on when that's going to run. We'll be you guys the code. We'll be sure to remind you guys on shows and make sure you guys have all the things you need to go and get yourself some shades or use it as a perfect Christmas gift. But Andy, anything else before we bring on Jacob here?
Oh, let's get him on.
Let's do it. Mr. Jacob Foutz, what's going on, dude?
Hey, before we get started, I just got one thing to say. Go Browns, baby.
What was that?
Go Browns, baby.
That's fine.
That's fine, you say.
I have no issue with the Browns. I mean, it's good. The NFL is a better place when the Browns and the Bills are winning. So absolutely. That is fine with me.
I do have to give a quick shout out to my dad, who is a diehard Oregon Ducks fan, but the biggest NFL bandwagoner. It's basically wherever an Oregon quarterback goes, he's a fan of that team. So he's a huge Herbert fan. So shout out to that. That was an insane game, by the way, the Chargers and the Browns. That had to have been the highest scoring game in like the past 10 years.
Leave it
like
to
47 to 45.
Leave it to the Cleveland Browns to be the first team in history to score 40 points and have over 500 yards of offense and still lose the game.
Yeah.
It's the most Cleveland
Browns.
Browns doing brown things. That's what I'm going to stick with.
All I'm going to say
how does the Browns defense give up that many points? They're supposed to be one of the best in the league.
I don't know. I mean, I guess in our defense, we're missing quite a few guys, but still. Yeah, I mean, you should win every game. No matter how bad your defense is.
I agree.
All I'm going to say is a Browns and Bills AFC championship would be awesome.
In Buffalo. Because it's going to have to go through Buffalo now. We have the easiest schedule remaining in the NFL.
Hey, all I'm going to say is Bills do not have the best track record, so I would not jinx yourself.
Neither do the Browns.
this is fair. This is fair.
I don't hope so.
It'll be fun regardless.
Well, buddy, obviously, first and foremost, congratulations on qualifying for the Bassmaster Elite Series. I know we had you on the show a long way back, before even Andrew was a co-host on this thing. I know, obviously, that was the goal for you. That was goal number one. You were guiding on Chickamauga back then, and I know you're still doing that now. So it's cool to watch your dream come true, and now you've qualified for the Bassmaster Elite Series. So I guess my first question for you, dude, is like, have you had the time to process it yet?
No, I'm not really. I mean, it still really hasn't sunk in yet. It's still kind of unbelievable to me at the time. I never really thought I could do it this young in my, this early in my career. I'm just 23, and I never dreamed the year would play out like it did. I mean, it was one of those years where everything that went right, and everything that gone wrong didn't go wrong. It was just one of those kind of dream years we had there in the sun. It just everything went the way it was supposed to.
Heck yeah, dude. So I know, obviously, you came through the college ranks. You had goals in college to make the championship, and then from the championship to make the bracket, win the bracket. You did that. And then your next goal coming out of that was, hey, I'm going to go make the Elite Series. Well, you've done that. So now, like, what's next step? What is the goal on your mind?
Oh, man, obviously I want to win. I want to do good on Elite Series. I'd like to win. Like to win the AOY. I'd like to win the Classic, and I'd like to win an Elite Series event. I mean, I guess that's the next step. That's really what's next for me. Hopefully we can do that sometime in my career. We'll see. But I'm really excited to get over there and improve myself, that I can compete on that level. It's going to be a big challenge, but I really enjoy the competition and really look looking forward to trying to prove myself against those guys.
Heck yeah, dude. So we're gonna kind of dive into the 3 opens that you qualify for the elites through. But like, yeah, I just gotta say, like, have you had a chance to at least like go and look down that Southern AOI for the division and just see the names that you outbeat?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. I've had this conversation with a lot of people, guys, few years, and with my buddies, and you can make the argument that the opens are just as tough, if not tougher, than the Elite Series itself. You got all the good up and coming guys. You got all the good. You got a bunch of Elite Series guys out there. You got a bunch of really, really good locals, and you got the guys from the BPT and the pro circuit that want to, or maybe trying to jump over to Elite Series or whatever. And, they're all in it. So, I mean, you can make the argument that the opens are definitely just as tough as the Elite Series are.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, and like especially obviously one looking at Bass Track, but then also kind of following along on leaderboard when guys are weighing in. Just the amount of freaking hammers that are fishing these things now. And you're not the first person. I mean, that's been a popular statement, I feel like, in the past year or two. I mean, really since I think COVID hit, right? Because all those not unemployment, but like all the what term am I looking for here, Andrew? Basically giving guys like, I use it all on fishing tackle. What was it?
Yeah, it'd be like would it be like a stimulus, like a fishing
tackle the stimulus. That's what I was looking for. I know a lot of guys that use that to pay off their opens entry fees. So it's like, I feel like there was this big burst in one participation, but then I guess just with the whole shift in the uncertainty of certain trails, like I feel like to your point, Jacob, I feel like a lot of guys went over just to at least start competing in the opens, just because why not?
But, oh yeah, it's definitely as tough as it gets. If you can catch them on the opens, you can just about catch them anywhere. I believe.
Yeah, wasn't there like 219 boats at Smith?
I think there was 219. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think that's what the number was.
It's pretty crazy, the numbers. I mean, speaking from the Northerns, I know on Oneida there was like 207, which for 200 boats on Oneida is
I don't know how they fit
insane. There. Yeah, you're playing bumper boats. That's what you're doing. It's basically what it was.
It's crazy that many boats. It's wild. It's definitely adds a tougher aspect. You get that many boats out there. It's definitely everyone takes their hot lap around the lake in 3 days. It definitely tightens up a little bit.
Yeah. Well, dude, let's start from tournament number 1 on the Harris chain back in March. Walk us through what went down, how you found your success, and obviously you were the second most consistent dude in the Southern Open. So we want to hear turn to tournament and start with Harris chain. How to go practice the tournament?
Yeah, the Harris chain. I got pretty lucky in that one. I didn't have a great practice by any means. I figured I could catch like 12 pounds, which in Florida is not very good. But that week the fishing was tough, so I figured with 12 pounds a day I'd probably get close to maybe getting a check if not lucky. I didn't really have high expectations for the tournament. I was just kind of going fishing. And first morning of the tournament, I roll up to what I thought was my best place, and like my fourth cast or something, I caught one that was close to 8, and I'm like, oh, all right, it's about to go down. And next cast, I catch a 2-pounder. I'm like, all right, it's about to happen. And I think I caught one more keeper off that place, and never had another bite there the rest of the tournament. So that that first day I caught 3 real quick, and I think I was in at I was in at like 4 o'clock probably that day. I went until 2 o'clock without another bite, and I got lucky. I put up on one place and I caught 2 keepers real quick, and I think I ended up weighing. I think I weighed 15 even. I think that first day, which had me like in the high 20s or low 30s. I can't really remember. I was in range. I was in check range, so I knew I needed to catch. I probably needed to catch 12 or 13 second day if I wanted to get a check. And that's the second day of that tournament's kind of where my year, just like I was saying, everything that can go right starts going right for you. Second day, I knew I didn't have much at that point. The hole I started on the first day dried up on me, and I was just kind of fishing that second day, and I rolled up and was fishing a shell bed, and at the mouth of this canal, and I'm the first cast on the shell bed. I dragged back, and on the other side of the canal, like 3 big ones come up chasing a big shiner, and I'm like, oh gosh, and I fire my worm over there, and I caught a 6-pounder. I'm like, all right, there's a big one I needed for the day. And so I'm like, well, I said, let me troll over and just see if there's any more. And I went over there, and buddy, it was the mother load. I'm talking 40 or 50 of them, and they were all big. And I could see them all over on my live scope, my 360, and I couldn't get them to bite after that. I mean, there were so many down there. I was like, I could feel my worm hitting them as I'm dragging through that. And, I'm pulling rods out of the rod locker, trying to figure out something to get them to fire. And I couldn't. I fished there for another hour. Never could get him going. So I left and went and fished a place. I think I had 13 or 14 pounds at that point. And I was in a little earlier that day, and I told my co, I'm like, the only way I'm going to make the top 10 is if I can go back and get them fish to bite. And I rolled up there, and it just, for whatever reason, I didn't think of this first time I was there. I had the jerkbait I was throwing, it only ran like 3 or 4 foot deep because I was fishing around grass. I wanted a shallower one so I could keep it out of the grass a little better. And these fish on the shell bait were like 10 foot deep. So I'm like, hey, dummy, why don't you tie on a jerkbait that runs a little deeper? So I tied on a mega bass, just a regular 110, and fired it out there and watched it come back on the live scope and jerked it over top of them. Here they come. They start rolling all over it, and I hook one that was like 6 or 7. Get into the boat, and he comes off. And I fire back in there, hook another one, 6 or 7. I actually snagged this one in the side. Fight it. I go in the seat to grab her, and she digs under the boat one more time and comes off. And I'm like, gosh, I was sick. Like I was getting ready to throw it. I was sick because that's how, years past. That's what's plagued me in the past is losing fish like that. And I was kind of like, man, you gotta be kidding me. This isn't happening again. And something just told me to, calm yourself down and get back with it. There's enough fish here. You just catch 2 of them, you're gonna have a big bag. And this school of minnow swam by the boat that was had like a greenback and was kind of translucent. I said, all right, bet I got a jerkbait that looks just like that. And I tied it on another mega bass, fired it out there in the first 2 casts. I catch a 6 and a 6. And I ran out of time. I weighed like 23 and a half, I think, the second day. And I jumped all the way up to second after that deal. And I'm like, all right, there's no way I'm not winning this tournament. I'm going to go back to the last day. I'm going to sit on them all day. I'm going to blast them. I'm going to catch 30. But it got cloudy and nasty, and that is not the deal in Florida. They like that sun. And I went back there the last day, and they were gone. I think I caught 10 pounds off that hole, and that's what I ended up weighing that day. I stayed there way too long looking back, but that's all I had really. So I just held out hope that they would roll up there at some point. And they never did. I fell to 4th, which I was plenty happy with after the practice I had. I knew it gave me a good shot for the Elite Series anyway, if I could just catch them in the next 2. And that's how that one went.
I mean, to your comment of, to your comment of, looking back on it on that last day of staying too long in that area, I don't think I blame you at all if that's what you saw and you're talking largemouth. I mean, it kind of blows my mind at these. Yeah, I mean, it blows my mind that these largemouth move that much because
they sound like smallies.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like smallmouth.
Yeah, Florida fish act just like smallmouth. I mean, they love the sun. I mean, it's just something about it. I don't know what they I guess they just scatter when they get them clouds because they were gone.
That's insane, dude. Yeah. Kyle says, I think 8 out of 10 people would have stayed after seeing all that. Yeah, and I think that
I want to know what the two people that wouldn't have stayed would have done, because now I think that's a more important topic.
Yeah, it's a fact. What would you do? I don't know. If I lost 2 7-pounders and then saw that and then caught 2 6s, I mean, yeah, I'm probably gonna be there for a while, especially if I see some fish.
And if you get bit, it just makes you stay even longer, because at any point they could roll up. So I mean, that takes guts to sit there and roll. But at that point too, the worst you can fall to is 10th, right? Was that something that was going through your head? Be like, well, I'm already made the top 10 for this tournament. I'm in day 3. I could win it or drop to 10th, but I still have good Elite Series points. Was that part of your thinking too, Jake?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I really wanted to win. So, I mean, I knew on that place that was my only shot. And like like you're saying, the worst I could do is fall to 10. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to, my only shot at winning is if I sit here the rest of the day. So that's what I did.
I like it.
Yeah, Andrew, total sidebar here. My headphones just notified me that I have low battery. I totally forgot to charge my headphones again. So I might have
the third time?
Second time. So I might have to plug in my other mic, so you might have to take over here for a minute or two. But we'll get there when we get there. So, dude, moving on to Douglas. That was that April?
April, mid.
Yeah, let's walk through that one.
Yeah, Douglas was a lot of the same, actually. Practice wasn't that great. They're right at the end of practice. I found them piled up offshore, and I was catching them on a 6XD. I only had like 3 big schools of fish, and I was pretty sure everyone else found them too. So, I kind of held out hope that maybe those guys wouldn't find them, but they're too good. I knew otherwise. And, I knew the weather coming in might jack them up a little bit. It got really cold there the few nights of that tournament. It was in like the high 30s, low 40s there every morning. I figured it would probably mess them up. And the very first day of practice I was there, I found a few smallmouth I thought I might catch if I get in a bind. But I didn't really try to. I didn't think I could win on smallmouth, so I didn't really try to push finding a bunch more of that stuff. Looking back, I wish I would have, but practice wasn't great. I didn't really have high expectations going in the tournament. I figured if I could get those deep fish to bite, I could have a good shot at winning if no one else found them. But you know how that goes. Everyone else found them, and pretty much I think I caught 3 out deep the first day of the tournament, and I scrambled and caught a limit there the first day, and I think I had like 10 pounds, and we were getting towards the end of the first day, and I said, let me go try them smallmouth real quick. I had one big flat that had a bunch of big rock on it. It was anywhere from 3 to 10 foot deep out there, and I went out there. I was just throwing a little Ned rig, dragging it around, and I caught 4. I think I caught 4 smallmouth out there the first day. Called pretty much everything I had, and I think I weighed 13 something. Yeah, and then the 30s again, I think, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna go smallmouth fish all day tomorrow. I think I can probably catch more than what I had, and I was catching them on a mag draft too a little bit, and it seemed like that bite was going away, but I didn't even really do it in the first day of the tournament. Just I don't know why. Looking back, it was kind of dumb, but the second day I went and caught 4 decent smallmouth. I think I had like 4 that went like 10 pounds, and after I caught 4 keepers, it kind of dried up, and I'm just like, well, I'm just gonna go fish now, I guess. I don't know what else to do. I'm not gonna sit here and try to catch a 5th. I knew I needed a big one if I wanted to make the top 10 again, so I was just like, I'm gonna go spin this mag draft around for a while, and I went first back and went down. I caught a 4.5 pound largemouth, and I'm like, well, that was lucky again, and I think I weighed 14 and a half the second day, and I tied for the 10th spot, but lost the tiebreaker, which kind of sucked, but that is what it is. Like I was saying, it is one of those tournaments. Everything everything went right. I mean, like I said, I had nothing really in practice that I was too excited. I just kind of went fishing again, and having an 11th place finish, I'm like, all right, now I got the lead in the points. I'm like, now I got one more tournament to one of my biggest dreams. I had to sit there until a few weeks ago. I said April to September. I had to sit there and think about it every single day.
Yeah, I mean, as much as it sucks to not make it to day 3. I mean, looking at the long, the long scheme of things, I mean, you still have to feel pretty good about it.
Oh yeah, I definitely felt good about it. I knew just one more solid tournament, I could probably do it. But like I said, it was definitely tough. I think I only had one more tournament in between those two. In between Douglas and Norman, I had Central Open at Pickwick in between those, so I had a long time off, which I thought was kind of a bad thing because I was on a roll. I'm like, usually when you get on a roll, you just you keep going. Right. I was kind of I'd have such a big layoff that it might mess me up a little bit, but it didn't.
Yeah, so talk about, I mean, really fast, because Douglas isn't a lake I'm familiar with in whatsoever. I've watched some videos of guys fishing it, but like when it comes to how that place sets up, I don't have the slightest clue. So like you mentioned how you have these schools offshore. I mean, what specifically offshore? Maybe it's a contour thing, maybe it's a cover thing that you're looking for, like shell bars or maybe brush piles or whatever. What are you looking for?
Yeah, you're just looking for shell beds out there. Douglas is kind of weird because it's kind of like a mix between a Tennessee River and like a Highland reservoir that's deep and rocky. It's like a mix between that almost. It's kind of weird. And the fish up there are really weird. They'll get out like 30 foot deep in April. Like here at home, here at Chig, they don't do that until end of May, 1st of June. They don't get out that deep. The fish at Douglas will spawn really, really early and get out deep really quick. And so it's weird. It's kind of a mixture. You can do just a little bit of everything. It's kind of like I'm trying to think of a lake that the Elite Series or MLF guys fish all the time that's kind of comparable to it. It's kind of like it's almost like an Ozark lake almost.
Okay.
If you've ever been out there, it's
no.
It's like a hybrid between a river system and a highland reservoir that's deep and clear. And it's got all the fishes in it. So I mean, you can really do whatever you want.
So is it like if you run a specific contour and you find shell on that, is it like you can kind of run that same deal and you can kind of almost keep running that pattern? It almost becomes a pattern then if you find specific similar contours like that, or is it just like you're just graphing random stuff hoping to find shell?
Pretty much me. I just kind of graph whatever random stuff to hope to find a shell, but I'm not, like I said, I'm just looking for the fish themselves. So I'm idling every kind of regularity, every high spot, every hump point, anything that I think should hold a group of fish. And you just kind of looking through everything because those fish I had a school that was 30 foot deep. I had a school that was 15 foot deep, and another one that was like 20. So, I mean, they were in all depth ranges. You just had to find them.
That's super interesting to me, especially fishing that deep in April. I mean, I could see it for like I mean, I'm also speaking just from a New York state of mind in the fact that like I'm thinking smallmouth all the time. So like it makes sense for us in smallmouth, but like I'm thinking down south in April. I mean, you think they're getting up on the bank by then?
Yeah, there were still a bunch of fish on the tournament. Was one. I think the fish there was still a bunch of largemouth spawning here and there. I didn't catch any largemouth spawning. I caught the smallmouth spawning though on them deep flats because it was easy. But like I said, Douglas is just a weird place.
Sounds like it.
It's not.
What's that? Sorry, you were breaking up.
No, I said Douglas is definitely not my favorite lake in the TVA chain.
let's move on to the last one, which I think. Well, I mean, obviously speaking here, I mean it's obviously the most stressful one for you because it's the only thing standing. It's the 2-day standing in your way of qualifying for the Bassmaster Elite Series, and I do have one comment on that, but I wanna hear you walk through Norman before I point this out.
Yeah, so I don't usually do this. I don't usually pre-practice for tournaments. It's just something I've never really done. But I went out to Norman 2 weeks before the tournament started and just kind of rode around and graphed and try to get an idea of what was going on before I got out there. I've been to Norman before, and it wasn't my favorite lake. I'm not real fond of places that have that many docks. It's intimidating almost, especially because tournaments like that seem to get dominated by docks. But like I said, I just have a hard time with there being so many of where do you start on something like that. But I went out there and pre-practice and just kind of rode around and try to get a feel what was going on, and I did that. But I tried to take that like a grain of salt because I figured in 2 weeks something would definitely change, and it turns out it really didn't that much. A lot of what I found in pre-practice was still good. Come the time I started practice for the Norman tournament, I had an okay practice. I didn't. I figured I could do well, but I didn't really know what to expect. I never caught any great big ones in practice. I didn't fish for them real hard. I just I did a lot of graphing in practice for that one because it seemed like most of the fish were out deep on brush or rock, and so I just spent most of my time graphing around trying to find as many brush piles and rock piles as I could, and in practice it got rainy, and we got a bunch of rain and cloudy, and they didn't really bite that great out deep there the last few days of practice, and it kind of worried me a little bit. But I figured I could get enough bites. I figured if I could catch 9 or 10 pounds a day, that would probably be enough to make the Elite Series. So I figured I could do that. It's just if I landed the bites I got, and the first day, it's all a whirlwind. I think I caught a little limit, like 6 or 7 pounds, which on Norman is easy to do because them spots are skinny and they don't weigh much when you catch one most of the time. But I had 60 or 70 places I thought I could catch one, so really I was just running. I'd pull up on a spot and make no more than 10 casts, and I was gone to the next one. And I caught up a couple times. I got to like 8.5. What I ended up weighing like 8.5, and I'm like, I need one big one, and I'll put myself in good shape. And right there at the end of the day, I found an old boat actually, and I rolled up there and I could see him sitting on it on live scope, and I flipped my drop shot out there, and I missed one first cast. I reeled it in and fixed my stuff and flipped it back out there, and I picked up one was just sitting there with it, and I pulled and it didn't move, and it just took off, and I'm like, gosh, that ain't no bass. I said, that's probably catfish, and it took off again, and I'm like, that ain't no catfish. I said, it might be a striper, and I fought it and got to the top, and it's like a 4-pound spot, and I'm like, gosh,
that's a big one for Norman.
Oh, that's like a 7 or 8 pounder everywhere else. That's gold right there. That was a bar of gold. And as soon as I saw it, I'm like, yeah, that's my Elite Series fish right there. I'm like, that fish right there, that's the one. That's what I needed right there. And I get her to the side of the boat, and she's just laying there, and I reach down there to scoop her, and I get my hand under her, and she jumps right up at my face, and drop shot comes flying out, and she went back in the lake. And I've never, hate to admit this, I've never cried on the water before, but I cried a little bit right then and there because I figured that was it right there. I'm like, that's my one lifetime shot at the Elite Series right there, and I just let her swim back to the bottom of the lake. You can ask the guys I was staying with. I was pretty devastated there after the first day because I was in I think I was in 80th place after the first 10. I dropped dropped all the way to 8th in points, and I'm like, oh my, I was devastated. Like, I was tore up pretty bad. I was mad. I had all the emotions, but I composed myself there towards the end of the night, and I was like, listen, you only got to make up 38 points. You only got to make up 38 places. The weights are really, really tight. And I just told myself, if you catch what bites the second day, I think you can do it. And we get out there the second day, and it's.
Can I interject here for a second?
Yeah.
So I just want to mention, I opened up. I was fishing a tournament the same day that you were going out for day 2, and I'm opening up my Instagram story the morning of day 2, and there's a story that says, it was from you, and it was basically sucked yesterday, not gonna suck today. And I just want to say, baller shot called, and I'll just let you complete the rest of your story.
Well, it's weird. I posted that, but it's like I knew it was gonna happen. It's really had to like it was gonna happen if I just stuck with it. I knew, like, it's hard to explain, dude. I just had that feeling. I've had it a few times. I had it when we won the college national championship, and I had it when I won the bracket. And then, that was really the first time I felt it since then. And I went out to the second day, and oh gosh, it was such a grind. I caught 2 like pretty much back to back at 9 o'clock, 2 deep keepers. And then I didn't have another bite until 2:30. I think I was in at 450 the second day. So I'm like, well, it's now or never. Kind of gave myself a pep talk. I'm like, it's now or never, make it happen. But deep down, I never panicked, nothing. Like, I knew it was going to happen. It's really weird. I don't know. Most people, they go that long without a bite, they say they hit the panic button. I don't know. It's really weird. And I pulled up to a place I hadn't fished all week. I was sitting on 2, and I fire out there and I catch a 3.5 pounder. I'm like, all right, that'll work. I'm like,
yeah, that'll do.
catch you 2 more. I went to the next spot, caught another keeper. Next spot, caught another keeper. So I caught a limit. I think I caught a limit by 3 o'clock. Excuse me. And I told my co, because I guess give a big thanks to my co the second day. He actually sat down and quit fishing because he knew how close I was. He sat down and got out of the way, and I can't even say what a class act.
Utmost respect for that guy.
Yeah. And he sat down and was being my cheerleader pretty much. And same rock pile that I caught the 3.5 on. I had fished it 4 or 5 times that day because I could see a bunch on it, on my live scope, and I caught that big one. So I'm like, well, there's probably more big ones there. So I'm like, coming back down the lake. It's like 4 o'clock, and I whipped it in there, but I had been fishing it the same way the 3 other times I fished it, or however many times I fished it, I pulled up and was thrown the same way. So I'm like, well, let me throw at him a different way this time and see if that makes a difference. And I fired my swim bait out there. I was catching them on a 3.3 Kitech on a 1/4 ounce head. I was live scoping all of them for the most part. I fired it out there and come blinding it across the top, and like 6 of them come up and started following it, and they were just following it. And I kind of gave up on them, and I turned my head to look at a boat because my swim bait was coming up to the top at that point. And it just went dunk and just sat there. And I'm like, I pulled and it just took off. I'm like, told my co, I'm like, if that's a bass, I said, that's the one. I said, that's the one right there. And fodder. And it was a big old spot. It was like a 4-pounder. I get her and grabbed her and had a little moment there. And I knew that was it.
So you're saying you cried twice in the same weekend on the boat?
Times the second day.
What a loser.
I mean, I feel all of that. I think I would have been in the same situation emotionally and mentally. So kudos to you to pulling it out, man. That's awesome. Congrats.
Like I said, everything that was supposed to go right went right, and I had it had it every time I needed to have it, and it just one of those years that you got to have to make the Elite Series really.
When it's your time, it's your time.
Yeah.
Kept telling myself, people kept telling me, I'm like, all the 5 months I had to wait. They're like, man, don't think about it. I'm like, yeah, that's easy for you to say, but
No kidding. Well, dude, there's something to be said about getting lucky bites, having that size show up there, but there's also something to be said for putting yourself in position for that to happen. Like, there's one thing between one guy catching an 8-pounder and getting really lucky, but then there's something to be said for it consistently happening. That just means good preparation and putting yourself in the right spot. I mean, that's sure. It's what you've heard time and time again of guys saying, it's the amount of preparation you put yourself to be in order to get lucky. So when luck does come around, you're ready for it. It's a testament to you putting the work in, dude. I mean,
heck yeah.
It's badass. So again, congrats.
This is all I've ever wanted to do my whole life. So I've worked hard to try to put my position possible, and it happened. When it happened, it's still crazy. I don't know.
It just proves when you work hard at something, good things will happen. So
yeah, old statement, you can do anything you put your mind to, and I've always told myself that I could do this, and sure enough, here I am. I've made the Classic now. I've qualified for the Elite Series. Everything I told myself I could do, I've done so far, and hopefully we can do the same once we get to the Elite Series. So,
heck yeah, dude. Well, so I have one question, and then we're gonna move on from the Opens and start talking Elites here. So I just one takeaway from that last catch that you had. So you said you looked away to look at a boat, and that's when you got bit. Do you think maybe it was like a subconscious, like when you looked over, your reel handle slowed, and that's what made them trigger, or was it like got closer to the boat and it was just
rod tip dropped?
Yeah, what do you think made him bite there?
I don't. I can't tell you. Dude. It's just one of those bites. Like
when it's your time, it's your time.
When the bait was coming up, and I'd kind of given up on him biting it, so I quit. I stopped watching, and I just turned my head. As soon as I turned my head, someone went dunk and just went the other way.
It's like a topwater bite. You can never get bit unless you look away.
Exactly.
Or answer a phone call.
Right.
Yeah.
Always when you're least prepared for it.
Yeah, of course. Well, dude, so look, I take that back. I do have a couple more questions on the Opens, and it's nothing too crazy, but it's more of I want to ask you, to look back on the 3 Opens and think about something you did really well. And obviously, the clear answer here is that you made the Elites 1. You were the top 3 most consistent, but I want you to look back, whether maybe it's mental or maybe it's an adjustment you made. What do you think you did well throughout the 3 Opens? And then think about one thing that you would have either done differently or an adjustment that you made thinking about it now that you should have made in one of the 3 Opens.
Can I do one thing before I answer that? I need to get my charger for my computers. It's a total rookie move. My computer's about to die.
Oh, dude, you're okay. My headphones are about to die. We're in the same boat.
Well, I think this is a good time for both of you to get a recharge.
I think this is Andy's solo segment brought to you by Queen Tackle.
Or Bates.
Or Bates. Yeah, talk about that, Andrew, while I swap out my microphone.
Well, I got some cool goodies here. Recently, I placed an order because there's been a killer crankbait bite. So I guess this could be like Andy's tackle tip moment of the day. So I got some cool little things in, some hard to find OSP EXDRs, some 5XDs, a very underrated smallmouth color Western Clown, treble hooks, because you always replace your trebles. But what I'm most excited about, because I love drop shot fishing, it's got some Ryugi fog shot TCs. These are super sharp, Jake. I don't know if you have a hook sponsor, but I took these out of the package earlier and I almost put it through my finger. So super sharp. But yeah.
How do I sound? Do I sound okay?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Are you using that mic that you can hear everything going on in the background?
No. So that mic is currently sitting over in the corner of the room, needed to be sent back to Amazon because so folks, like I've been doing this podcast thing for over 2 years, but that doesn't mean that I know like equipment wise what to use. I know how to talk to a camera and click like record, and I know how to click upload. And that's about as far as my knowledge goes. So when I had this money saved by a mic, Deacon is going to help me out and get the right mic, but I got a mic to like pick up everything in the circumference of a round. So I literally picked up conversations. Oh, we lost Jacob. From 2 rooms away. But I was looking for a mic that's only just going to entrap, here, but sound clear to the phone.
We got to put you in a bubble with that mic, so everything's just inside the bubble.
Yeah, and see, this is Deacon's knowledge versus mine. So Deacon is very knowledgeable in the technology and the equipment to use. He's like, oh, hey, do you have hardwood floors? And I was like, that's a weird question. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, that could also be why like some of the audio sometimes can be kind of they're echoey or what have you. And I was like, I did not think about that.
Because it's like reverbing off of it.
Yeah, I just expect things to work because I'm my generation.
Simpleton.
Yeah. But so Jake, now that we got you back, buddy, one thing you did really well in the Opens, and then one adjustment or one thing you think you could have done better.
The last few years I've worked really hard, try to work really hard on the mental side of things. I think you get to a certain point where your physical capability, as far as your casting and your physical skill, it only goes so far. You get to the same level as everyone else, and everyone just everyone's on the same level at that point. I've always said fishing's 90% mental and 10% physical capability. And in years past, I've kind of let bad breaks kind of spin me out a little bit, and just having a bad practice, I let it kind of dictate my tournament. And so I've worked really hard the last few years to try to just get myself in a better mental state when I show up to these tournaments. And I don't try to worry about what I can't control anymore, the weather, all that stuff. I don't practice. I've just kind of it's weird. It's hard to describe in a way. It's just one of those things that you just I've got my confidence back again, if that makes sense. Really, that's for a few years there. The year I won the bracket, and after that, I kind of lost all my confidence midway through the Opens in 18 that year, and it took me a long time to get it back. Really, really, last year I started getting my confidence back again, and just this year I felt like I was going to catch them every single day. It's just one of those deals. I kept a positive attitude towards everything, and it's crazy the way it works out when you do that. You fish free, if that makes sense. You have no expectations or anything like that. You're just fishing. I can't tell you how many times, just like those, like in Florida when I pulled up on that shell bed to fish for that, what I thought was a group of fish on the one side, but they come up on the other side. I hadn't fished that shell bed all week. It was just kind of a gut decision. I just kind of trusted my decisions again, and it's crazy how it's worked out. That tournament in Florida, all the confidence in the world again, and I've had such a good year this year, and like I said, I think that's been the biggest player, just my mental state from years past. I try to stay as positive as I can be, and I don't get too hot. I try not to get too low, and just kind of go with the flow. But one thing I think I can improve on a little bit. I think I'd still like to get better at practicing. I still don't quite feel like I'm a great practicer for tournaments, if that makes practicer. I don't know that word.
from like a time management standpoint, or in what regard?
Just, I think that the amount of water I cover kind of, it's hard to say. I had such a good year. I don't, trying to, I don't feel like I could have done a whole lot better this year as far as in the Southern Opens. I mean, I had, if I land the 4-pounder at Norman, I'm pretty close to 4 or 3 top tens in that division. That's really hard to do. I had such a good year. I don't really know what I could have done better in the Southern. Centrals, that's a different story.
Don't fish Smith. There you go. That's your solution.
Yeah. Save yourself. Go to Smith Lake.
Yeah. Well, dude, I mean, there's so many different things that you could look on that, do differently. But I think either way, what it comes down to, it's all learning lessons, because one, you accomplish your goal, and that's all that really matters now. And now you get to set new goals and new learning lessons, because now you got the Elite Series to look forward to, which is pretty baller, if I do say so myself. Because you're only 23, dude. And that's like me, my age, making the Elite Series. And I'm like, I look at that and I'm like, there's no way in hell I could fish at that level. So that's pretty baller, dude.
Yeah, I can't even begin to tell you how excited I am. I always thought I could do it. I could do it, but I never didn't figure I could do it at this age. After I won the bracket and classic and all that, I'm like, maybe I can do it a little younger than some people, but yeah, it's just I didn't expect it to come quick, because this was kind of my first full year. I guess you could say really my first full year back in the Open since 2018. I fished one division last year, but that's not really a full year.
Kyle Pillars asked who's the youngest on tour, and I think that's KJ Queen.
KJ this year.
It was KJ, right?
Yeah, it was definitely KJ. I don't know who it's going to be next year. I figure it's me. I don't know anyone younger. I know there's some guys close that qualify.
Is KJ older? Is KJ older than you?
KJ's older than me, yeah.
I don't know why I thought KJ was like 21 or 22.
I think he
got a baby face.
I think he was 23 this year, if I remember. 23, 24. And I'll be 23 when we kick off this year.
Yeah, I mean, dude, looking forward to next year. I mean, great segue here is, what are the next steps for you? What are the biggest things on the Bassmaster Elite Series to-do list?
I mean, I think my goals for the year would be, I'd like to win Rookie of the Year, obviously. I'd like to win AOI. That's. I'd like to win every single one, but being realistic, I think I want to qualify, win Rookie of the Year. I think that's my two biggest goals for the year. I'm not going to get too far ahead of myself.
Yeah, man. I mean, looking at the off season, I mean, what do you have? What work is in store, whether on the water or off the water, that you got to get done before, the first tournament comes around in, I think, February. I think February.
Yeah, I think
February. Second week. St. John's and Trainer back-to-back weeks there in February. Yeah, I got to find a new boat, and obviously we're going to try to work on getting as much help as we can financially and stuff like that. So that's on the to-do list. That's we're working on that right now as we speak. So, looking forward to that. I've never really had to go through that, so I'm looking forward to that, learning a little bit of a learning curve to get to do that side of the industry. I don't have a whole lot of experience doing that, so that'll be fun to kind of learn of and see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, talking on the water for next year, I mean, beyond the competition that you're going up against, I mean, what are some challenges, whether it's maybe practice time or locations that you're going to go fish? I mean, what other challenges are you looking at right now?
I've never been to St. John's. I've never been to Santee. I've never been to to Fork. I've never been to Oahe. I've never been to the St. Lawrence. I've never been to the Mississippi River. So, I mean, really, it's just, all the new fisheries I'm going to get to fish. Obviously, we've got 2 on there that I've spent a lot of time on the Harris Chain and Chickamauga. So I'm really looking forward to those. But, I'm really I'm looking forward to getting to fish a whole bunch of new water, I think that's a good thing. Actually, I'm not going to have any preconceived notion of going into those. I can just show up and fish, just fish the moment, fish the moment over there. Not try to get caught up in what I've done in the past or where I've caught them in the past and stuff like that.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, Andrew, and say that Jacob's probably going to be on live when it comes to the Lake Chickamauga tournament.
Yeah, I would take the over on that.
Yeah. I would probably put in your sponsor package, but I will be on Bassmaster Live on these dates. If you want your logo on
at
live.
least day one, right? At least day one.
I mean, yeah, for Chick, I at least being on live all 4 days for that one, but it's a toss up on the rest of them. But I have full intentions on being on live all 4 days at Chickamauga.
Attaboy. Let's see. Kyle Pillars is asking, what stop has you most excited beyond Chick and Harris Chain?
The St. Lawrence, no doubt.
I thought that was coming. I know we've chatted a bunch, and I know you have a soft spot for those brown fish. It might be the Ohio in you, but
yeah, it is for sure. There's nothing I love more in this world, more than smallmouth, and I'm pretty what's arguably the #1 smallmouth fishery in the world. So, well, definitely looking forward. I'm looking forward to Fork too. I really would like to go join the Century Club. That'd be cool.
That would be cool. I mean, you better pack like backups to your backup of props if they're sending you to Santee and Fork.
Whew.
Yeah, be a little tough equipment too. So
maybe a couple lower units and a couple extra Ultrexes or trolling motors, whichever brand you use. You'll definitely need spares. Yeah.
I've been known to mess up a few lower units in my days. So.
Perfect. The Bass Service Trailer will love you even more.
Yeah. Well, from what I've seen from the guys that fish the tour, especially on the opens, is you better make good friends out of those guys. Because if you take care of them, they'll take care of you. I mean, dude, honest truth, like, in just a couple of opens that I fished, they're probably one of the hardest working dudes I think I've been around. To be full honesty.
They definitely stay busy. That is for sure. They're. Dude, we're so appreciative of what they do for us at the opens. It's unreal. They keep us on the water. That's for sure. They do a lot for us, and we surely do appreciate that.
Heck yeah. Well, dude, Andy, I don't know if you have any questions coming up for Jacob, but I'm just curious here what kind of, because I know we've chatted in the past a bunch. We've kept in touch decent, but I've still yet to put a finger on if you're more of a deep guy or a shallow guy, or you just like to keep well-versed.
I try to stay as well-versed as I can. I think now I'm leaning, I wouldn't say deep, but more than shallow. I don't know. I just kind of I did in all the Southerns this year. I caught them offshore for the most part, so I think I tend to lean more towards offshore for whatever reason. That's not. I've not always been that way. I was always a shallow guy growing up. I was always a flipping and pitching and throwing a buzzbait and a frog up shallow, and I still enjoy doing that. In my part of the world, from most of the year, you find yourself offshore. Really in the spring and right now is the only time you find yourself fishing shallow, because now it's all grass fishing for the most part.
Right. I think the last thing I have for you before if Andrew has any questions here is do you still plan on guiding on Chick while you're fishing the elites? Is that just going to be the job when you come home?
Yeah, for sure. I enjoy it. It keeps me on the water and I'm able to make some money, and I enjoy enjoy helping people learn and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's on the schedule for next year.
Where can people find your guide business, by the way, if they want to book a trip? Which, if you guys don't follow him on social, which you should, it's in the description. Whatever show whether you're listening or watching, the dude puts you on giants. So where can folks find your guide business, or how they can get in touch with you?
Yeah, like you're saying, they can find me on social media, or they can go to my website. It's just jacobfoutzfishing.com. They can look me up there and get all the info there. Send me a message through Facebook or Instagram. Like I said.
Yeah, I want to go chicken catch giants.
You gotta want to drive over 2 hours to go fishing there,
dude. I would if I wasn't trailering my boat. If I had a dual axle trailer, I would take it further, but I don't like towing it more than like 3 hours on single axle. That's my deal. Because if you blow a tire, you're screwed.
This is fair. That's why you just get a kayak.
It's true.
No, it's yeah, exactly. Andrew, you got anything left for Jake before we let him go here?
No, I just want to wish you best of luck in 2022, and wherever it takes you, keep your head high and fish strong and go crack some faces. And we look forward to rooting you on, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to go try my best to make some noise out there, and we'll see what happens.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to the stories that say, I didn't suck yesterday and I'm not going to suck again today.
Yeah, I don't post saying I sucked yesterday. I'm not going to suck today kind of deal. So hopefully I just crack them in every single tournament.
Yeah, no, there's no need. It's just it's day 4, rally caps, and you're going to go smash.
If you're not first or last type mentality, Ricky Bobby, I sense a little bit of a Ricky Bobby here in Jacob. Like,
shake and bake.
Sucked yesterday. Love it.
Well, buddy, I hope to obviously you're coming up to St. Lawrence, but I'm going to be down your way a few times, and hopefully when I'm around, if you're home, we can connect. But obviously we hope to get you back on the show more times, hopefully meaning a tournament win here and there, maybe a Rookie of the Year prelude. But either way, but I'm looking forward to having Jacob Foutz as a selection for my fantasy fishing team for next year.
Absolutely. Like I said, I'm excited, and I appreciate you guys' support. I appreciate you guys having me on. I always enjoy it.
Well, look forward to my "Don't mess with my fantasy fishing team" text the night before day 1 on Chick.
Absolutely, I'll do it. I'll let you. Maybe I can get heads up on how practice is going.
There we go. We got some insider trading going.
Just gonna give you thumbs down, just so you don't pick them. Every tournament. How's practice? Yeah. Thumbs down.
No pressure.
I'll just get a picture of just like, nah.
No.
Well, buddy, it's been good to catch up with you. We'll chat with you soon. Obviously, we'll be in touch. And good luck to you, man. Congrats again.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Andrew, I appreciate it, guys.
Of course, Jacob. Good luck.
Right, boss. Yep. We'll talk to you. Dude, that kid, I'm telling you, I say that kid, he's my age. He's gonna be like trouble for these guys next year.
You can see it.
He's well versed. I mean, he's from Ohio. I mean, you got to think about it from somebody said on the I think it was the Facebook post this morning.
Ohioans grind. They know how to grind.
I mean, look at the Shryack brothers. I mean Hunter especially. Like Hunter has proven himself when you look at an AOI standpoint on the Elite Series of being well versed. I mean, I think Hunter's more of a shallow grinder, a flipping type of guy, whereas Jacob, I think, has become well. I mean, obviously looking at Douglas and Norman, 2 fisheries where it seems to be predominantly one offshore. I mean, I think he's got what it takes to do well around the country. He just needs to start getting, history or experience on new fisheries, just like any other angler that comes on that hasn't been able to see everything.
Any angler fishing anywhere, literally, it takes time.
Isn't it interesting though when you look at the comparison between
veterans and newer anglers, where you do see a lot of newer anglers being really good at, they're at that top of the tournament standings, but how it compares to even like some veterans that have seen these places 100 times sometimes don't do as well. It's just kind of like an interesting comparison to kind of look at. But
yeah,
I like what you said though, fresh mind. I mean, yeah, Jeff said, hey, they're both from the same county, yeah.
That's awesome.
So pressure's on, Jake. You got to be better than the Shryoks. He's laughing at that. But for real, if you guys want to go smash on Chick and you're looking for a guide, I mean, he's the one to go to. But I'm excited to get back to Tennessee. I think I'm going to be in Tennessee like 3 or 4 times next year, at least if all goes to plan. But either way, I'm looking forward to watching Jacob out in the Elite Series next year. It's gonna be pretty cool to see.
I can't wait for 2022. I can't wait for 2022 to get here, but I can't wait for the Elite season to happen because that tournament schedule is incredible. There's gonna be giants caught, as long as Mother Nature lets them play correctly this year.
I feel like we've said this like the past 5 years, but then Mother Nature's like, ha, psych. You get like 1 day where they
15 inches of rain in 2 hours on Pickwick the day before the tournament starts.
Everyone's like, Pickwick's gonna be like giant bags, Century Club.
Mother Nature's like, hold my beer. You had 2 animals, each sex, get them in the ark. Let's go.
Well, we're gonna knock on wood here that we have a semi-normal year weather-wise next year, just so the boys can go womp on them and throw out some crazy weights. But I think professional fishing in general next year, I don't think the NPFL has leaked their schedule yet. But looking at the BPT and the Elite Series, I'll be honest, I'm not a fan whatsoever of the overlapping. I think there's 2 tournaments that overlap. I don't like that at all because I'm a big fan of the sport, so I like to watch both, and it's hard for me to pay attention to both at the same time. But
hard for you to pay attention while one's on.
That's fair. I mean, to be entirely brutally honest, Major League Fishing does not do well with marketing their events. I love watching the events.
I never know they're on until it's over.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, there was a tournament?
I have to set Google Calendar reminders if I want to watch the thing because I don't know about it. I don't know what's going on. Whereas the Elite Series, everyone's talking about. But either way,
there was more buzz on MPFL last year than the BPT.
What's that?
I feel like there was more buzz around MPFL last year from a social media standpoint than BPT.
I think there's going to be even more buzz next year, too. I've heard rumblings of Patrick Walters, Buddy Gross, some guys that are going to fish the Elites and the NPFL.
That's going to be crazy.
I've heard that from multiple people.
So it's going to become... So
don't quote me. Do not quote the serious angler here. We did not say it.
Is becoming the new PAA, the Professional Anglers Association Tournament Tour that happened 20 years ago is what it sounds like. Because all the Elite Series anglers fished that as well, 10, 15 years ago.
NPFL's going places. It could be. Yikes. There we go. Now we're getting some kind but dude, I think it's going to be a really good year. 2022, hopefully we have all this COVID madness behind us. I mean, that nobody enjoyed that. I like the fact that fishing grew in popularity, but and people might disagree or agree with this comment, but fishing has there's always grow the sport, right? It's just
there's a max threshold.
There's a capacity. Yeah. There is a capacity, I think. I love to, grow the knowledge of it, but there's only so many people you can put on the water. Whereas basketball, you can grow that however big you want because you could always build another basketball court. You can't just go and pop up a new lake in, a month.
It's true. And in the way hydro dams are going, is soon there won't be building any more reservoirs. So
yeah. I don't know. I think it'll be cool to see what 2022 brings, and hopefully things go back to a little more normalcy, and maybe people get outside, be around people more. Maybe their feelings will stop getting less hurt, and we'll all be able to go back. There's been a lot of chaos, I should say, for lack of a better term, in the fishing industry the past few months. It seems if everyone could just go fishing, we'd be fine. Just go bass fishing. You'll be fine.
And stay more than like 100 yards away from each other so you don't yell and scream.
Yeah. Yeah. Just go fishing, guys. You'll be fine. But Andy, anything else for the folks before we sign off here?
No, not at this moment. Oh, one thing. If you do want to come fish Lake Erie, I know we're pushing Jake's guide service. I will be taking deposits here within the next 2 weeks for next spring on Lake Erie and Buffalo, New York, and the Great Lakes. So I have Buffalo, Upper Niagara, Lower Niagara, and Lake Ontario. Fishing this year, I don't know if we'll ever top it. It has been absolutely incredible. But if you want to have a shot at some trophy smallmouth, make sure to hit me up here and we'll get you out. So
yeah. All of Andrew's guide, business, contact, all that jazz is down in the show notes as well on MP3 and YouTube.
Oh, sidebar too. I put the 100th 5-pounder in the boat for guide clients.
Oh, you've been counting?
Yeah.
Are you just like the weighmaster that sits in the back of the boat when they catch them?
Yeah. Anything over I'm like, oh, that's like a 4.5. I throw it on the scale because they're smallmouth, and a 4.5 could very easily be a 5.5. So I'm like, oh, that's like a 4. And I'm like, oh crap, it's 5'10". So yeah, like it's an unofficial tally, but like there's been days in the June that we put like 21 5-pounders in the boat, so I know we're well over 100, but I'm like, it's definitely 100. So, and I know personally I've caught 8 over 6.
Must be nice.
It's been a good year. Yeah.
Heck yeah, dude. Well, folks, we appreciate you guys tuning in. A real quick reminder that giving away some more Hobie shades next Monday. And then another big reminder that in November, we'll obviously announce it on the socials, that you'll have an additional 35% off of the Hobie shades, which is huge. So again, if you're looking for stocking stuffers, shades for yourself, whomever, we'll be sure to get you on that. But as always, guys, we appreciate you, and we'll see you on Friday.